Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Patch. This week brought to you by Casper and Squarespace. Make a website while you sleep on a bed.
Oh, now they're like
Why
together.
not? You guys, put those two companies together. Y'all are together now. Do it.
Make a
Making
bed
matches.
website.
Huh?
Make a bed website.
Make a bed website. Yeah.
or make
a
your new
better
website from bed.
website.
Oh, snap.
All right, I'm Gus,
I'm Ashley.
I'm disgusted with you. And I'm Ryan.
and we're here to talk about video games and not hooking other companies up together.
But really, love is a beautiful thing.
Love is a beautiful thing. So I didn't.
It is Valentine's Day week.
It is. What? So if you're looking for a game to play with your Valentine, may I suggest Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time?
May I recommend Flock if you hate them?
If you hate them, all right. Yeah, I remember.
If you're looking
you
for an
and
excuse
Bernie
to
had a
break
thing,
up,
yeah.
play Flock.
Do you have any recommendations for a game to play with your Valentine?
The only thing I can think of right now that actually customized for Valentine's Day was apparently Destiny has done it up, but I wouldn't
I
ever
heard that's not
recommend
really
that you
worth
play
it.
it. Yeah, no, just don't do it.
Well, you wouldn't recommend it in any case, but I heard that the event's not reviewing so hot.
Oh, but it looked pretty in the screenshots.
Well, Destiny's always looked pretty in the screenshots.
That's true.
Fair play. So normally when we do the patch, in the morning, believe it or not, I spend hours reading like different news sites to figure out what's going on, make sure I didn't miss anything, and I have all my facts straight. Didn't have time today. I've been so busy.
Shooting from the hip.
All day. So, shooting from the hip. So I'm only going to talk about games I have been playing, I guess.
Well, we've been doing that a lot more lately anyway, which is fun in my opinion. It's nice to talk about
It's
the
fun.
games that we're playing.
What have you been playing, Ashley?
So I've been playing The Witness.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. Okay, good.
We talked about it a little bit last week, but
How far are you? Have you finished it?
No, I haven't finished it yet. I'm making slow progress, but I'm falling out of love with it. When I started it, I was much more forgiving of the fact that it has no real story. People will argue with that because there's those little tapes you find on the ground
Lots of audio logs.
where someone will talk over, and I started avoiding them because I just didn't want to hear this chick talk in my ear anymore while I was trying to solve a puzzle. So I don't know. It wasn't coming together in any meaningful way for me. So at the beginning, I was more forgiving of that, but I've been through enough of the game now that I feel like this is just one of those books of puzzles
Oh yeah.
that looks a little bit prettier. There's
you go
really
and get the
nothing
crossword
connecting
puzzle
all
or-
of them. There's no greater narrative driving through the whole thing. It's just a collection of puzzles that looks kind of pretty.
Well, so I've finished the game. What I did was I told myself I was not going to allow myself to play XCOM 2 until I finished The Witness.
Wow.
Whoa,
So,
dude!
You extorted yourself.
That was that was real motivation to finish The Witness.
I bet. How
And
fast did you finish The Witness after you made that ultimatum to
It took a
yourself?
long time. That game is really difficult.
Did you use a guide?
I did a couple of times have to use a
I've got to
guide.
be so careful
And
with my coffee.
I feel like in the interest of full disclosure, I should say I was supplied a digital download code for this game from the PR agency on the PS4. But it's tough. And the game, so it's a game that I really appreciate and I'm glad was made, but it's not a genre of game I typically play. Like
Just puzzle games in
puzzle
general?
games, like it makes me feel dumb. Like the game is so well thought out. Like I'm blown away by the amount of work that must have gone into developing these different puzzles and like the different mechanics and the way it all works. Because it's kind of a dual-edged sword. The true beauty and the true most frustrating part of this game are the same thing, and it's that nothing is explained to you. It's here you go. You start with a simple puzzle, then you get a slightly more complex puzzle, and then it's like, okay, now go out and enjoy the world. So it makes me think a lot, and people have made this comparison a lot, but it definitely makes me think a lot of like Myst and games like that, where it's just you go out and no one's telling you what to do. You just kind of like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? So it's hard to talk about the game with anyone who's playing it because people could be taking totally different approaches to finishing the game.
It's absolutely non-linear in that sense.
Absolutely.
For such a game about lines, it is extremely non-linear.
Now, I have seen that there are certain areas where it's best to have done this area before you go into this other area because the puzzles, which are never fully explained to you, do build on each other a bit. So if
Correct.
you've gone through and learned these kinds of puzzles, then this next set makes a lot more sense. So I've been trying my hardest not to use a guide. And the furthest I've gone is going, what kind of puzzle is this? I don't understand what the goal is.
Yeah,
And then go, aha, and then do the work myself.
Yeah, they will introduce new mechanics, like a new symbol or something, and then you don't know necessarily what it means. So there is definitely a period of trial and error trying to figure that out. And I encountered one moment where I got really frustrated and I was staring at a puzzle, so I started guessing, and I guessed the correct answer, and then I was like, I just screwed myself.
Oh, because you
'Cause you didn't
because then you
learn.
don't know what it is.
Right. I didn't learn what happened.
I had the same thing where I had a couple of puzzles. It was the black and white dots where I was somehow solving them, but I didn't understand what it was that was doing it. And so as they got harder and harder, I just got horribly confused. And that's one of the things that I ended up looking at when it says, "Oh, you have to do it this way," and go, "Okay, now what I've been doing makes sense in a completely different context."
So
Ow.
I didn't. There's apparently a lot of secret areas and a lot of things that are hidden in the game, and I didn't nearly get to all of them. I only found a very small handful.
But you
However,
don't need to in order to complete the game.
You don't need to. But I was going to say there is one that if you find it, it does add a little bit of context to the story and does kind of fill you in.
So what you're
on
telling me
what's
there is
going
a
on.
story?
So they have story hidden in an Easter egg.
Well, the story. The story's there.
Congratulations, you found the plot.
But maybe just I don't want to say it adds a story, but it adds context maybe to what's going on.
Okay.
And it's really interesting, and that was definitely my biggest like oh wow moment was encountering that, and then it just kind of opens your eyes a little bit as to how it's going.
There was one thing, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but this game has been coming under a little bit of fire from some people for not being colorblind friendly.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you guys?
Well, there's actually, I mean, we've done a second Let's Play in it, and in that Let's Play, we encountered a puzzle where you have to look through various colored glass to solve the puzzle. So yeah, absolutely, I can see how that would be a problem. It was probably more of a problem even before you have to
no,
look through the colored
I'm sorry,
glass.
I don't mean, yeah, I guess I should rephrase. Do you think it's an issue? Do you think the game should have been designed differently in order to accommodate colorblind people?
I think so. I think we're reaching a point where a lot of games are, enabling a colorblind mode. And, like you said, you do have to deal with the filters, but it seems like it would be relatively easy. And again, I don't know. I've
No.
never made a game to enable a colorblind mode that just shows the filters slightly differently.
I mean, it depends on what level of colorblind you're talking about. If it's just red-green, then that's something you probably work with. But if you're colorblind,
Yeah, then there's
there's a lot of that you
colorblind,
just couldn't
mean
do.
people who see black and white? Because that's a thing, but it's super rare.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think most common is red-green.
right.
How weird would it be to be more colorblind than a dog?
They can see blue and yellow, right?
They can see a little bit of color.
Yeah, but I think
so
that's
if you
about
could
it.
just see black and white, I mean, life would feel really cinematic, though. I'd probably become a detective.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know the difference between noir and everything else. It would just be like that's just life.
Stop crushing my dreams.
It would actually
Ryan.
you would
Just
have
stop
gotten
it.
rid of art.
That reminds
My
me.
life would be art.
That reminds me of one of my all-time favorite Calvin and Hobbes comic strips, where Calvin's Calvin asks, "Why are all old photos black and white?" And Calvin's father explains that the world used to be in black and white.
They're
and
color
then-
photos.
Yeah, they were color photos of a black and white world, and that that color slowly started seeping into the world. It started with red. That's why photos from the 70s have that reddish tint, and then all the other colors came in.
How many
So
people
funny.
you think actually got a Calvin and Hobbes reference at this point?
Oh,
I hope
'cause-
everybody.
Well, Bill Watterson was so protective of that property that it doesn't exist. I mean, you can buy the books, but there was never a cartoon. There's never really been any follow-up to it.
But you see
I-
Calvin peeing on like a Ford logo. and
That's
Even
the
that was
downside.
like a knockoff.
That's total
it does
knockoff,
kind of
yeah.
suck that the only thing a lot of people know about Calvin and Hobbes is this little fucking kid peeing on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the comics themselves, I have, they did like a very cool hardcover box set.
I own it.
There's the brown ones, just like the beautiful. I have that twice.
Wow.
I bought it. Well, I bought it, and then my mom bought it for me for Christmas, and she
Aw.
shipped it all the way to Australia. Gus couldn't tell you, it is fucking heavy.
that is a dense box set. Yeah.
She paid like $100 in shipping
gosh.
to get it to me, and I didn't have the heart to tell her I already had
It
it.
sounds like you could have just brought yourself home on that.
I could have floated home. It's a raft for sure. But yeah, the Calvin and Hobbes books are fantastic.
If you're not familiar, go look up Calvin and Hobbes. It's a tremendous comic.
Yeah, do yourself a favor.
Apparently, and I love the reasoning behind why he never let it go to cartoon. He said it was just because he never wanted to hear what Calvin's voice was.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And
makes sense.
I get it. I don't when I was just trying to think of how a Calvin and Hobbes game might work, and I realized that I actually don't want that.
Yeah.
Not everything's meant for
He
it.
said those two characters have such strong voices that actually giving it a physical voice could break it.
Makes sense.
So go look it up. It's not a game. Never will be until Bill Watterson dies, and then someone will license it out from under him, and Calvin and Hobbes will be everything. But
Would you consider it to be a comic? I mean, it's
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a comic, but it's not going to be what a lot of people think of when they think comic.
Well, it wasn't
book.
like a comic
but
book.
maybe we can trick people into reading it if we just call it a comic book.
well, it's the old school like newspaper comic,
Yeah.
back when comics actually would say things.
What if you
have
could take
social commentary?
Yeah, you know.
What if you could take all of the strips and then reorganize them in such a way that you created like a narrative out of them? Kind of like recutting them and reorganizing them to try to make an actual story and present it.
That'd be
It'd probably
pretty
be a
cool.
love story with Susie, right? You know, like
Yeah.
it starts with hitting her with rocks and snowballs, and then slowly they tea party. No, that they actually have a tea party at one point,
No, they do. I remember,
Yeah.
I remember that. It's beautiful.
and then Susie takes Hobbs, and then never mind. Just go read it.
All right, yeah, go read it. So the other game I've been playing, like I said, I motivated myself to finish The Witness by promising myself I could play XCOM 2 once I was I was through The Witness, and I've been having a lot of fun with XCOM 2. I've read a lot of reports of people having frame rate issues.
Really?
Yeah, and I haven't experienced that. Even Bernie was talking about that the other day, I think. He was saying that it got really choppy for him, and it seems to have been smooth for me so far. So I'm really curious to know like what it is that's causing that or how prevalent that is.
I've
Yeah,
played it
Bernie's
on-
been playing it with JD.
I played on 3 different machines. Well, okay, I'm going to rescind that. 2 machines, because the third machine is my laptop, and I'm streaming it from my PC. But I played it with a 970 and I guess I have played on 3. A 970 GeForce, a 780, and a 770.
Didn't it come out last week? I played it on 3 different machines.
We had an early copy,
You playing?
review copy. Yeah, I've talked about playing. Yeah, you know I'm playing. We got a review copy of it, so I'd been playing it for a while, and I haven't really run into any issues on any of those machines.
Yeah, I've been playing mine on a 780, and I have 2 780s, but of course I fucking updated the driver and SLI was disabled. I was playing on one 780 and it was fine. Then I put SLI on and it's still been fine with that too.
Were you playing on like high graphic settings?
Yeah.
Or? Okay. I don't know if I ever turned mine up. I think I did. It's on medium or high.
And it's a fun game. I find so far, I don't know if it's because I became really familiar with Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within, and XCOM 2 is obviously a little different. I'm finding it a lot more difficult than I found the previous iterations.
It is
of the game.
very hard to start off.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of unforgiving and kind of brutal. The new sectoids are a hell of a lot more powerful. I'm not that far, and I should also say that I've only played I think 4 hours maybe, and I'm doing the thing where I'm trying to kind of avoid the main story and trying to like fly around and recruit.
I'm going to tell you not to do that.
Oh,
I'm coming down on don't avoid the main story too long, because just like in the previous XCOMs, what's kind of happened to me is I did avoid the main story for as long as possible and just put it off and put it off and put it off. And what happens is you get to the end and then you are super overpowered. And I mean, it's been a while since I even came back with an injured character from a.
but that's what I want.
It's good, but at the same time, what kind of makes those games fun is you have this happening in tandem of you're unlocking new stuff for your characters, like psionic abilities. Your characters are leveling up. You get them to like colonel level with the various different classes, and you get to see all the cool stuff that they do. You get better weapons, you get better armor, and then you're also doing the story. Having the two operating at the same time is a way more enjoyable experience than hitting the cap on your research and equipment, but still having story to do.
Yeah.
So if you keep them kind of in tandem, I think you get a much better experience out of it. And that's where I have like a roster full of colonel level characters, and all my equipment has not had an upgrade in several hours of gameplay, but it's just because I put it off. Like if I just kept playing it in parity, it would have been great.
How do you feel about them deciding that the canon for the end of the first game was you lost? That you start this game having lost, even if you didn't lose.
Leading into that, I want to segue with a gripe I have about the game,
All right.
which plays right into this. So when I first started playing, like the first mission is obviously like a tutorial mission you go through. It's very much like the previous XCOMs. You rescue someone that's in like suspended animation, and then there's a cutscene of you like resuscitating this person, and
Is it a sexy cutscene?
Oh, it's sexy.
It's
It's
super
ju-
sexy.
juices.
Aliens on humans. But right then, as you know, midway through the cutscene, my dog is asking to go out. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me see if I can pause the cutscene. I hit escape, and it just skips the cutscene.
Oh,
Yeah.
I,
I was like,
hate
oh,
that.
fuck. So I had to go to
Son of a
YouTube. I had to like,
bitch.
I hope somebody uploaded that cutscene. I got to see what happened. And it's the cutscene where they explain the story, essentially that you lost
Okay.
in the previous game.
Man, and see, if you're Nintendo, that's going to be a big problem because they tend to ban cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the story in their games spoiled, so they're very anti that. You wouldn't be able to do that with a Nintendo.
I would have had to start a new game. But it wasn't, I mean, I would
You
have had
were
to
at the
replay the
beginning.
first mission. But
Actually,
Eh,
you can
still.
skip that mission too when you restart a
Oh,
new game.
right.
Because that's essentially the tutorial, so you could just jump over it. I don't know. It may still show you that cutscene to begin it off. though.
I assume so. But yeah, I mean, they had to do something to get the game going, to set up that world they wanted. I felt like I kicked their ass in Enemy Within and Enemy Unknown, so I wasn't happy about it, finding out I lost.
How do you feel about the two currency system? Because you essentially have intel and supplies. Supplies are your money, and then intel is just like another currency that it's a little bit harder to acquire, honestly.
I don't think I've played enough to where I've really encountered a problem with that. It hasn't affected me yet. I can't speak to it because I haven't been far enough in the game.
I do notice too that, and you've probably played enough to really get a sense of this. Every mission now is very time critical. Like you rarely will have a mission that doesn't have you must do something before X turns. Where it feels, in previous incarnations of the game, you'd have lots of missions that had unlimited time. Now it's like you get to get to that thing and hack it in 6 turns or you fail.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Well, that's the whole game.
Yeah, like they definitely put essentially a time limit on every mission you go out on. Whereas I'd normally like to take those missions really slow. And so now every mission I'm on, Central is like, you've only got 1 turn left.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God damn it. Okay. And then I've got to like try to rush to scramble and get it done at the end.
And it's kind of weird to pair that with one of the other new improvements in the game, which is the concealment, where you start off in a lot of these missions as the enemy don't know you're there, and you can kind of sneak in and position. And that system felt like it was still kind of like I want to see what the DLC does with that, because right now it's great for that initial like I'm in position, but there's modifiers that make, especially the Ranger class can have higher aim and things that are in concealment. They can also re-enter concealment one time.
They also get the Phantom ability. I've seen that where if the rest of your party loses concealment, they maintain concealment.
And it's got some uses, especially if you have one guy that's still in concealment. They can sneak forward, and you can use them to kind of spot enemies without revealing them. So he'll see them. They won't react, though. It's not like they've been exposed.
You can probably pair that with the ability for other soldiers to aim based on the line of sight from the other people in the squad.
I'm not sure if it works with squad sight or not.
Okay.
Because I got to where I just like, okay, I just find my first group of enemies and just kill them. And if I lose concealment, whatever. Well, I'm gonna lose concealment. Fine.
Well, I try to set up traps like they did. Try to position all my people, put them in an Overwatch, have one person fire or throw a grenade, then the enemy reacts and moves, and then everyone just mows them down. But it's like, but how do you balance that? Because Overwatch, you lose, like you have a lower to hit percentage, but you get the element of surprise. If you just had everyone attack in 1 turn like normal, like
you also lose control over who would they attack. So
Right.
if there's like a super bad enemy and then a guy that you don't really care about, they usually just turn and execute the guy you don't give a shit about, and the super bad enemy's like, well, hi guys, what's up?
Now, this game, because it's a very different gameplay dynamic with the sneaking around and with the attacking and the guerrilla warfare, and that's why they chose that ending, right? Is they wanted
Right.
a different dynamic. They used an excuse, I think, that they said something like 85% of people did lose.
really?
Is that true?
Like, yeah, only about 15% of people finished the game or completed it, whatever. Maybe what they actually mean is 15% of campaigns played, because I could see people starting over and doing it again.
I wonder if
but
that
better,
accounts for
so on.
incomplete campaigns, though.
Probably incomplete campaigns as well.
I think
yeah.
I've got 2 or 3 incomplete campaigns where I just got to the last mission. I was like, well, okay, I beat the game. Like,
Well, you're part of the problem, Ryan.
I am.
You're
Go
why,
back and
you're why
finish
the
those.
humans
I should go
lost.
wrap it up so that they, know that people did play their game more.
So for XCOM 2, make sure you finish every time.
I'm on the last mission.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they do a lot of really. I mean, honestly, like I'm critiquing it a bit, but I really enjoyed the game. I liked what they did with it a lot. The changes that they made really made for an interesting game, and they've got a really interesting kind of direction that all the characters take, which is by the time you get to the end of it, each of the subclasses seems to have their special ability is something that lets them go more than once. Like the Rangers have a Reaper ability where they can kill one guy with a sword, and then if they kill someone, well, if they actually kill him with a sword, then they get another action, and they can just do that. And then snipers are the same way. If they kill someone with cereal on, then they get to take a whole nother shot. So you can get your high-level characters just take down a group of enemies really fast.
That was always one of my favorite perks in Fallout 3 was if you kill someone in VATS, your VATS is instantly refilled. That was called like Reaper's Sprint or something like that. That's a good one. But I love abilities like that where like it gives you incentive to finish someone off and then just continue your mayhem streak.
It also gives you incentive to power level and try to get your characters as powerful as possible so you can just one-shot dudes.
See, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Well, that's
See,
the thing.
I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'm with you guys.
yeah.
I'd love, like, I do the work and I'll grind and I'll grind and I'll grind and I'll be miserable and then I'll roll through everybody and I'll be like,
Yeah.
and then I'll be kind of bored.
I don't feel like the
because there's
snipers are-
challenge.
Yeah, and I don't want to
But
play
I'm
it on
having a great
easy.
time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to play it on a harder difficulty, but I want to dominate on the harder
I
difficulty.
want it to feel easy on the harder
Yeah.
difficulty.
Yes. Exactly.
Because then I feel like I'm super cool.
Yeah.
I feel like they did, in some ways, actually damp that down a little bit. Like, snipers used to be the answer to everything.
Yeah. I mean, you would have like, yeah, absolutely,
Pretty much.
agree.
And they're still really good. And there's two directions you can go with them now. The pistol direction is actually pretty interesting, especially when you're using something like armor-piercing ammo, because the pistol modification can fire 3 shots with the pistol, and the pistol gets the ammo bonus. So you can shoot 3 times ignoring armor and do a lot of damage, whereas with the sniper rifle, you might do less.
Interesting. Yeah, you'd get like 1 round off.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, they've added a lot of really interesting stuff to the game. I like it a lot.
I have a question. So it's been a while since I played Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within. And I've noticed that in XCOM 2, so like a typical soldier, starting out, you get 2 turns, right? Like 2 movements
Yeah.
or movement and then attack or something like that. But if you attack, you don't get your movement.
Yeah.
In the previous games, I thought you could attack and then move. No?
In fact, they've done something to make it a little bit better, which is previously, I think if you reloaded, your turn was over. And now you still get your second turn after you do a reload. I may be misremembering it, but I was surprised by that the first time I did it. Now, but yeah, if you attack, there are certain characters that have abilities that if you attack your first turn, that doesn't end your turn.
Yeah, I'm just talking like base level.
But yeah, baseline, if you shoot, you're done.
I don't like that.
Though again, if you're a sniper and you're in an elevated position and you shoot and kill somebody,
Right,
you
but
can get an extra action.
Shooting
That's
as a
an
sniper
ability.
takes 2 actions, though.
You can get an action back if you kill somebody.
Yeah, but I'm talking like baseline. Like
Yeah.
so that takes 2 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
For a normal standard like ranger or someone, they should be able to shoot and then move. I don't understand why that's not allowed. Because if you can move and then shoot, because I want to.
No.
That's the case with most strategy games, though, isn't it? Though that you move and then you take action and that's the end of your turn.
Right, but I want to be able to shoot, see the outcome of that to determine if it requires another shot or like a tactical
Well,
move.
then you would like the implacable upgrade on the ranger, which is if you move and kill somebody, you get a bonus move after that, which is great because they're a sword. They've aside from being shotgun, which is close range, they also have the sword, so you can get right up on somebody if you're pretty sure that you're going to kill them, and then you have a turn to get back into cover.
Right, otherwise you're just standing there exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have not been using that sword very much
Yeah.
because of that reason.
So they kind of address that with characters that would more specifically benefit from it, assuming you actually kill them.
okay.
So would you say was it worth blackmailing yourself for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go back and talk too much more about The Witness, but like I said, it's not the kind of game I would normally play. I'm glad I played it, not for me. So yeah, I'm glad that I forced myself to finish it just so I could see. It would kill me if everyone was talking about this game and I had no idea what was going on. So I'm glad that I stuck through it and finished it.
Yeah, I always have trouble if I try and blackmail myself into finishing a game because I'm very bad at splitting my attention between multiple things at once. If I'm reading a book, I have to read this one book. I can't switch between a bunch of books, and it's the same with games. I tend to play one game until it's done, and then I move on to the next game. It's like addiction, next addiction.
Does that apply
Fantastic.
to platform though? Like For example, with books, like I can have an audiobook going and a physical book going at the same time. I can have a Steam game and an Xbox game going at the same time.
Well, maybe not necessarily, because I remember I was playing, for example, Fantasy Life on 3DS the same time I was playing other games on console and so on, because it's what you have wherever you are. So it's a little bit different, but these days, because I'm mostly playing on PC, that issue takes care of itself.
Yeah.
But I end up, there are a bunch of games probably that I haven't finished because I tried to do that, like, oh, well, I'm going to start this new game, but I'm not done with this game, but I'm going to start this new game, and I never went back. So I would probably be part of the XCOM, the poor XCOM stats for that very reason.
Leaving behind.
Yep,
Letting
always.
Earth down.
No game left behind.
Can you do that? Can you multitask?
You mean,
Multi-game?
well, I mean, like at the same second?
Oh.
No,
Ish.
like what we're talking about.
Well, I just said I did. So I thought it was weird to ask again.
Well, but you were talking about like different platforms.
Yeah.
But can you? Do you have any problem playing like a PC game and then saying, "I'm not really in the mood for this game. I'm going to go play another game," and then come back to?
If it's compelling, I'll come back to it. But yeah, no, I can switch off. I don't always feel like the need to finish a game. And honestly, XCOM is one of those games that I don't always feel like I need to finish. Like, I enjoy once you've beaten the game once, I get the meat of it for me is that whole development, like discovery period where you're unlocking new stuff and you're having to scrap and save and, just claw your way to victory. And then once you hit a certain level, you're like, okay, well, it's pretty much over for the aliens. Let's be honest.
So you can see the finish line, and that's good enough.
Yeah, Daddy's here. Like, the aliens are done. You might as well just pack it in. You know what's going to happen. I could spend an hour finishing the last mission, killing all 29 people, whatever, but...
You got to watch out, Ryan. They're going to get you monologuing, and that's when you're going to get in trouble.
It's true. They'll sneak up on me.
Here, let me read this. I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper is revolutionizing the mattress industry by cutting the cost of dealing with resellers and showrooms and passing that savings directly to the consumer. Casper's mattress is an obsessively engineered mattress at a very fair price. Two technologies, latex and memory foam, come together for better nights and brighter days. It's a comfortable mattress that has just the right sink and bounce. You can buy it easily online and completely risk-free. Casper understands the importance of truly trying out a mattress that in all reality you spend a third of your life on. Casper offers free delivery and painless returns with a 100-day period, so you don't have to lie down in a showroom. Get a Casper mattress for $500 for a twin or $950 for a king-size mattress. Compared to industry averages, it's an outstanding price point, and you can save an additional $50 as one of our audience members by going to casper.com/patch and entering promo code PATCH. That's casper.com/patch, promo code PATCH. Terms and conditions apply, but buy a mattress, get $50 off. There's the website. There's the code. Go do it. You got to sleep. I love sleeping. I love sleeping on my Casper mattress. Thank you, Casper. You're a great sponsor for sending me a mattress.
Oh, dear.
I want to ask you about one more thing with XCOM, though.
Okay.
Why do you think they just didn't care about consoles?
So I'm glad you brought that
Yeah.
up because I'm only several hours in, but I have not seen anything so far in the game that makes me think this is impossible on a console.
Here's the thing, too. Not only did they not release any console version, and as far as I'm aware, have not talked about a console version, they don't even have controller support.
You have Steam controller.
Which Steam controller
Why?
is basically a mouse keyboard emulator, though, right? I mean, it's designed to sort of take the place of that. So I wonder if there's a back end input to it that makes it pretend it's other peripherals.
There's little things that annoy me, maybe somewhat on a tangent of that. So like when you're controlling someone in your squad, and you've got like your little bar at the bottom, and one of them's like attack, one of them's hunker down, Overwatch, all of that. They've got numbers on them, but you can't trigger those actions by hitting the number.
Yeah, you can.
I hit the number, and it selects it, but then it doesn't execute it. I have to either hit enter or click on the thing. Like I should just be able to hit the number and then hit it again.
Well, it's two-step for everything. But yeah, I can see how just double tapping the number would be nice.
Right. So it's annoying to me that seems like a no-brainer.
And they have absolutely not worked out to any degree what happens when you've got things on multiple levels. Like, if you're trying to... I've had one point where I thought I was just not going to be able to finish a mission because the extraction point was like on a second floor, and then part of that floor exploded, and nowhere would I put the mouse would get in my little icon, my destination point to be up on that level. It wanted to be above it on a level or below it onto something else, but I couldn't get it to go there.
Even rotating the camera, you couldn't
Rotating
get
the
it around.
camera, you can scroll the mouse wheel to select
Yeah.
levels, but that doesn't work. I don't know why that's so hard to fix.
I feel like when you scroll, it's not only necessarily selecting levels. It's more like changing your zoom level, but instead of going like at an angle to this, it's
Yeah.
like changing
Just
it
goes up and down.
vertically. It's a really weird
There's
way to zoom in and out.
no reason that shouldn't fix that problem. They have stacking issues. There's a couple times too where I had like a supply drop that was in like the northwest quadrant of the U.S. and there was another piece of. There's like that's where the bonus for that area is, and then the supply drop was there. And so if you land on it and try and click on the little advanced time button, you couldn't. It was like submerged, so you had to like eke the
Dance
mouse
around.
around to try and find a spot where it's like that's stuff that's been around since the last game. That needs to get fixed.
And that's stuff that could be solved with a controller. That would be easier with a controller because you could use like a D-pad.
They had that problem with the controller too,
Yeah, you should be able, or use the arrows on your keyboard and get through that.
or something. Yeah, I mean there just needs to be it. To be fair, that came up 3 times out of all the time I've played that game, but it's really something that needs to be addressed as they become more interested in like multi-level type stuff. Aside from that, man, they just added so much to that game. There's so many different. Every time I think about it, it's like, oh, okay, well now there's the ship battles, and then have you been shot down by a UFO yet?
No. Spoiler.
I'm mad that it only happened to me one time. It's like there's a whole mechanic that I got to see once.
All right, I'll let you know. I hope that you didn't transfer that to me, and I'm going to be like, constantly like, motherfucking UFOs. Oh, shooting me down.
There's even a thing you can build in your ship to make those better. And I just never built one till the end when I was like, well, I got some space. Maybe I should build one and maybe a UFO will hunt me down. But they never did.
Headcanon, maybe the ships that don't get shot down become Tharsis.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I was thinking about Tharsis earlier today. I was like, man, that was a good game. I should go back and play it sometime.
Yeah. Bernie's getting really into it.
It's a fantastic game.
It's I like the bloody dice. Just at all times, you're reminded that you did something bad.
Yeah, you did something to survive.
Well, you did, but you also,
gonna say it was
you did
bad.
something. Well, I guess when you're talking about survival, the thing I actually really
If
liked.
you didn't play the game, once your astronaut cannibalizes another astronaut, their dice become bloody.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's sort of gross, but also very cool. It's just that constant reminder,
You live with your
Yeah,
like
choices.
that-
you know what you did.
That person ate someone.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Undertale. Never forget.
Sounds like 7 Eves. That's a book. Never mind.
Yeah. FYI, also on Twitter, what's their name? Yuma says there are multiple endings to The Witness.
Really?
Okay.
Apparently, she asks, did you get all the endings in The Witness?
That applies multiple stories, and I've yet to see one be told.
I'm gonna say.
Right.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I got one.
I'm gonna try and get the one where the aliens win.
Oh.
No, the witness.
I know.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
It was
Yeah.
it was.
I see.
I got it.
It
You're-
didn't
I got
land.
it.
But I tried, but it didn't land.
you-
So some people are saying that double
Thanks,
tapping the
Ryan.
numbers should work in
I'm there
XCOM
for
2. Is it Mouse 0270 and Unseeing Mosi? Both say that. So I got to go back and try it again.
What works?
Double tapping the number in
Oh, okay.
XCOM 2. They say it works for them. I'll go try again. Like specifically, it would be easier for me because I use that Razer, the Naga,
Yeah.
and I've got like a little numpad there. So if I could just do that and then not have to ever touch my keyboard, it would be ideal.
Yeah.
Do you use that number pad? I've never used one.
Constantly.
Really, I have never used it.
It is hard for me to use a mouse that doesn't have that.
I've got 3 mice probably. They all have that, and I never.
I mean, at the
ever
very
use
least,
it.
use the forward and backward, right? For web browsing.
No.
Yeah, there's a button that's great. You just hit the button and it goes back or forward in web pages. That's the
Yeah.
best thing ever
I just hit
invented.
backspace.
That's way over there. My
Because
hand's on the
then
mouse.
other hand, yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna hit backspace, I'm probably about to hit refresh after that. So I'm over here anyway.
So wait, you actually use a keyboard to go back instead of just using the back and the actual GUI?
Yeah. I just hit backspace.
But
How do you go forward?
Why would you take your hand
Alt
off the
forward
mouse?
key.
Alt forward.
The hand's on the mouse. Just let it be there. Or are you like left-handing it?
You just go left hand.
No.
Backspace.
See,
Yeah,
my left
that's-
hand's
I don't see what's so
preoccupied when I'm
difficult
using
about
the
this.
internet.
Yeah. Wink.
You're a left-hander, eh?
When I first started using that Razer, it took me a little while to get used to it, like because the numbers are so tight, and they give you like little training buds to like
Mm-hmm.
to train your thumb as to like where all the different buttons are, and then you take them off after a while. and I had a real hard time learning how to use it. I mean, my thumbs are dumb apparently because I had those nubs on there for a long time, but ever since then it's like I cannot use anything else, especially in MMOs. Like during my WoW days, holy fuck, it was awesome to be able to just
Because
cast
those are
everything
just
like
shortcuts, right? That's I always got the feeling that that's what those were made for, was essentially for like hotkeys in MMOs. And then maybe you get some games where you have weapon selection where the numbers 1 through 10 are each of the different weapons, and it would go through your shotgun or whatever. So it's the easy swapping that way. But I guess I don't know. Don't play enough.
I don't use the numbers that often, but I do use the forward and backwards constantly. You guys remember there was a very short window there where not only did you have the mouse scroll wheel this way, but it could tilt left and right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hated that.
No one ever used that for anything, though, right?
Yeah, I always would do that by accident. Like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Because there's never anything over there. You'd scroll over and be like, oh, there's just white page. Cool. I'm glad I could see that.
Have you ever tried gaming with a trackball? Like the
God,
you know
no.
the ones where
Oh,
the
wait.
ball's on top?
I have tried it, but not by choice.
I used to play Descent that way.
Really?
Oh my god, you're a crazy person.
Yeah, I had a
You
Kensington.
played Descent with
I
really?
can see that.
I had a Kensington trackball with like 4 buttons, like 1, 2, and then at the bottom 3 and 4. And I would play the shit out of Descent with that.
Wow.
Especially, yeah, I got fairly decent at it, fairly decent at it. But yeah, I can't imagine going back and doing that again.
You're not going to get it out for Star Citizen? Whenever
No,
that
I'm
comes
gonna
out?
have to get a high quality joystick.
Are you going to go with like a full HOTAS?
Maybe.
What's a HOTAS?
Hands-on, throttle, and stick.
Is that like one of those things that comes all around the front? I
It's
feel
you
like you
got
should invest in
yeah,
a
the
full
throttle
cockpit.
and-
Like
Yeah,
one
it's
that
the-
that comes down over the
Now
top
that
and
would be
everything.
well. Now I mean VR has made it so you don't need that. You just beep.
Yeah, but then you feel like you're in it that way.
No, what I want is to wear like a HoloLens in a full cockpit. And that way it's not VR. It's like, so you're seeing everything and then you have like additional augmented information.
That'd be sick.
Did you see that animated GIF that they released of the way that helmets work in the game in Star Citizen?
That seemed a
Yeah.
little bit overdone to me. Did
That
it
was-
seem overdone
yeah,
to
it was
anybody
like-
else?
Probably didn't have to do all of that. I mean, I was like, okay, I get why this game's taking forever.
It's like Raiden's helmet, right? I mean, it's just like
Yes, and then it comes out, goes
and then there's
in,
a
all the different
glass.
pieces. And you can see every individual piece go click, 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 click.
Seems like that's a
pull
lot of points
back.
of failure. I'd want a very simple helmet.
But you want it to seal. I think that's the point. Like if you lose cabin pressure and you're in outer
Keyword.
space, you want it to be
mean,
totally
Yeah.
off.
That's like the rest of us are over here being like, wow, I can see why this game is taking a really long time to make. And you're like, I don't know. That seems like it would fail in space.
Seems like an impractical helmet to me. Seems like way too many doodads. I just want a glass bulb.
a glass.
like
You're
you,
like
just,
a
you
fish.
just want a diving bell.
Yeah. There you go.
Like your neck would be exhausted flying your spaceship. Like I can't look up. Get this giant diving.
No, you just have the big full dome, and then you can just look around inside of it.
Maybe you can mod the game and make a skin. You look like a big daddy flying a spaceship.
I wonder. Okay, so by this point, with this level of detail, you're gonna be able to fly over and look in somebody's cockpit, right?
I would
You
assume
better
so.
be able to.
Can I open my face shield and then you? We'll
I'm
spend
also-
like we'll fly up next to each other, spend like 3 minutes opening our faceplates.
No, you can recreate the scene like in Top Gun where you fly upside down over someone.
There you
then
go.
You like flip them off.
I'm also expecting to be able to go for a coffee or something,
Yeah.
sit down across from each other, and just
Over at Spacebucks.
open and close the helmets over and over and over.
That's how you talk, actually. That's the emojis of the Star Citizen universe. You get helmet half open, you just get the
Goes,
wing part of it, and, you're like,
"Eh."
and then the sad one is when it just like opens the glass and shatters without opening the rest.
You'll just have a little servo. Like, "Mm."
Yeah, it seems a little bit overdone.
Look, it's just another
It's
year
very
of
cool,
development
though.
time, and you can have that. And another $2 million.
Okay, man. I'm still super excited for it. Can't wait.
How
Yeah,
long can that
we'll see.
last? How long can you ride that excitement at this point?
2 more years?
You can ride the
Wow.
excitement for another 2 years.
Sure. I'm on the hype train.
Wow. Well, I mean, he's monetarily invested in the hype train.
That's
at this
true.
Point.
Have
At
you
this
all
point,
ever
you
have
are
you all
an
ever
investor.
donated anything to Star Citizen? Have you paid anything to them?
No,
Not Star Citizen yet.
no. I was really tempted to because it seemed for a while, and I know it's still going, but for a while it seemed like that was the thing to do. Absolutely, everybody was backing it. Everyone's buying their ships. They're doing all this crazy stuff, and I felt like I should back it just because
Wow, you got peer
everybody's
pressure.
doing it. Yeah, but I didn't do it.
Well, that's good for
In
you.
the end, my friends jumped off the cliff, and I did not.
Well, now you don't have a cool ship.
That's true. I don't.
I mean,
But neither does he.
he
I
doesn't
do have
anywhere to-
cool ships, and I can see them. That much I can see.
I'm gonna be honest. As soon as they get back to working with VR headsets, I'll probably reinvest though, because that's when I would want to see it.
They are at almost $108 million. They're at 107,897,876.
Yeah, they're at
That's
108
insane.
million. It's the rest of that is nonsense.
So I'm
Although-
gonna let it sit here. I just turned auto refresh on. Let's see if they hit 100. Let's see if they can collect another $112,000 before we're done here.
You know, there was an interesting thing
Oh,
we
they
discussed recently. I was
Just go down.
thinking that Star Citizen, like that's an insane amount of money
Yeah.
for any game. But it turns out there are a lot of games that cost about that much. Apparently, Metal Gear Solid 5 was about 80 million.
Well, that's why they were so pissed off at. Well, supposedly that's why Kojima was in such hot water for so long, and why the game isn't finished, is because they didn't want to give him any more money at that point.
Oh, they could have just borrowed some from Star Citizen.
Well, you know.
But
Ooh, I was distracted by Star Citizen.
So the reason I say they're not going to make it while we're talking is I'm looking at their stats. On a typical day, they make between 60,000 and 88,000, depending on the day. So
On the typical day, they raise enough money to hire another person.
yeah, the lowest day was, what is this? The 8th of February. It looks like they got $59,176, and the highest day in the past week. The highest day was the 5th. They got $88,000.
I'm kind of curious with everything they've released so far, and I mean, even the stuff we're looking at right now, it seems like this is definitely the scrubbed PR E3 version. But I don't know that this game will go that direction. I think they might actually deliver on what they're showing. It may not be something that everybody can play at that level, but
Yeah, I think if you by the time it comes out, I think once if you have a top of the line machine, yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to play that. I mean, the stuff
by
they
the
show.
time it comes out, if you have a bottom of the line machine, you'll probably be able to play it.
But I think all the stuff they're showing, I think they've pretty much delivered on. I mean, it's not like you said, it's not some post production sparkled up
Right.
piece of shit.
they have at least locked their scope, so they're not like they know what features they want in the game, and they're not just adding more.
That's why I'm glad
Yeah.
they kind of ended
Anymore,
their
which is
stretch
good.
goals, and there's
Yes,
no more.
exactly.
It's like, oh, they that's it. No more piling on. We talked about this before, I think.
Yeah.
Like all stretch goals are constantly changing the scope of the game.
Exactly. So the fact that they've locked it is at least a good sign, or it's a terrifying sign that they looked at it and they went, "We can't even take more money to get these features done." Even that is not going to help at this point.
I don't know
We're
what else to give
we're
you.
so in over our heads. I mean, if anyone can deliver on it, they have an enormous team now; they can afford it. But actually seeing it would be great.
Yeah, I want to play. I want to have fun. What about you, Ryan? I know we both talked about games we've been playing. Is there anything else you've been playing besides XCOM 2?
Well, I just started today playing a little bit of Dying Light for the following. I've skipped basically all the DLC for Dying Light until now, so we just did a little teaser there, Let's Play and the following, and I haven't seen that much of it yet, but so far it's like, well, it's cool. You get more of the game. You get into a new area, so it's not just like added challenges on the existing area. It's actually added stuff and an added skill tree with the like the driving ability. Though the driving ability I think was introduced previously, but so far I like it. We also did a couple Let's Plays in Fortified, which is a like hybrid FPS tower defense game. It's pretty stripped down. It's got kind of very cartoony, kind of Team Fortress-esque graphics. It's got 4 different character classes, so you can kind of pick your poison, though they basically only vary in what order they get access to certain defensive structures and weapons. And some of them obviously don't ever get them, but the super abilities on each class are so far pretty useless. It's like, oh, cool, I turned it on. I'm invulnerable, and my bullet does 3 more damage, maybe. At least for my character, which is I went with like the agent. If you're gonna play, wouldn't recommend it. Especially
you
not
wouldn't
the
recommend
agent.
the agent.
I would not. The character that Jeremy's playing, the captain, is it's got probably so far has been the most abysmal attempt you've ever made, Gavin.
Hi, Gav.
The captain has what has been
Whoa!
Meg
wow
also fell short.
0 for 2 coming out of that home.
Those two are meant to be
What are
together.
What's the other one?
tiger. No, wait, some kind of pig thing? What is this?
Oh, that's one. What is it? It's a
Labbit.
labbit.
All right. Yeah, no, it got ridiculous because there was a defensive structure basically that is just like a rocket trooper. And as soon as Jeremy unlocked that, it went from, it was like, player kills, and then it tracks player kills and like defensive structure kills. It was like, 10, 20, whatever for each of the players. And then defensive structures like 10, 15. And Jeremy had like 200.
Whoa.
I mean, it was off the charts.
So-
He was in triple digits.
So Jeremy's a way better player than you guys.
Jeremy's defensive structures are way better players than any of us. Like, he still had 20 kills or something, but his defensive structures being just those rocket guys that would just follow him around, or you can tell him to go sit over there.
I mean, I say
defend
let
here.
your structures do the work for you if you can.
Well, he did.
That's just smart
That's effective
playing.
management.
It's delegating.
Every round, though, is so you go. It's got a campaign to it that it's like 12 levels, and each level has a different number of like spawn locations and different types of enemies, and you're just defending your rocket ship from hordes of enemies. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's a fun little co-op game. I forget how much it is. If it's 60, I don't think it's worth it. But if it's more
What
like
is
in
it?
the Fortified.
Okay, you look that up. I'm going to read this while you figure that out. I want to remind everyone, this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by Squarespace. So big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code PATCH at checkout and get 10% off. With Squarespace, you can build sites that look professionally designed regardless of skill level and no coding required. They offer intuitive and easy-to-use tools to help you along the way, and you get a free domain name if you sign up for a year. Start your free trial site today at squarespace.com. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use offer code PATCH, get 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace, build it beautiful. And they kind of emphasize how you don't need any skill, no coding is required. But if you do like to code, you can toggle that and you can enter, any specific HTML you want if you want to get in there and do it yourself. But absolutely no need to. Every time I show someone Squarespace for the first time, it's like they can't believe how easy it is to make a website. So it's not all hype.
So Fortified, not $40. It is at full price. It is $15
Yeah.
on Steam.
Yeah, that's
But
a good
because Steam is doing yet another sale, right now it's
the
$12.
Lunar something.
Yeah, it's the Lunar New Year's sale. I have to say,
Sure.
well, I got surprised by that. Didn't know it was coming. I saw the Steam sale and went, really, another one? It's like
What, you burned out?
I am.
On
I'm
savings?
burned out on savings. I spent so much money during the winter sale, and I do that. Part of the reason that I do that is because they seem like occasions. They seem like events.
Uh-huh.
And I know that I can do it in the winter, and I know I can do it in the summer, and that there'll probably be one in spring and fall. But it seems like every other week now there's an enormous, crazy sale where you must spend all your money. So, like, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the problem? Spend your money.
Yeah.
I already did.
Are
Right,
you
twice.
anti-Steam?
This one
No.
didn't even have trading cards attached to it, did it?
Not as far as I know. Nothing crazy like
See,
that.
they didn't have they didn't really set the hook this time. There's no mini game attached to purchasing more things.
Is there an ARG that's going to drive people crazy?
That ends up being absolutely nothing.
There was
It's
something,
the
right? where-
worst, by the way. An ARG with that isn't really anything at all.
Yeah, it's just a
That's just mean. I have been having some good experiences with Steam, aside from their sale, from having too many of them. I've been using the crap out of cloud saves, and I'm really loving streaming. Because I've been playing Psychonauts again.
You mean streaming to a computer?
Yeah, like
not
streaming between PCs.
Because
Yeah.
it can actually stream to the Twitch now too.
Yeah, no, not that. It does.
I think so.
I mean, I know they've got their own internal streaming to other Steam people, which nobody
Oh,
ever
maybe it's
uses
not the Twitch.
ever.
Yeah, it's just some kind of stream.
Yeah, they do have their Steam where like
It's
someone can
within
just
the ecosystem.
yeah,
Yeah.
hop on and watch it, but they have to be using. I think they have to be using the app, and they have to have a Steam account and all this stuff. So nobody really uses it to watch stuff. I could potentially see dropping it on someone's stream if I want to see if a game actually looks anything like the trailers and if I should buy it. But there's really no ecosystem there like what Twitch has.
I have a bone to pick with that statement in just a minute. Not with you, but with something that's annoying the crap out of me right now
Okay.
in the store.
Gotcha.
But please continue.
But yeah, I've been really enjoying being able to move from PC to PC and not worry about carrying a save around with me. It's fantastic because I've been traveling a lot lately. So I've got a nice gaming PC at home, but I can't always have that. So I take the laptop when I'm on the go, and I can pick it up and I can start playing. I can pick it from the same spot on the plane. and it's fantastic. I'm loving it.
That was killing me about Zoombinis. I started Zoombinis different times on 3 different computers because it had no Steam Cloud.
To be fair, that game's like an hour long.
I know, but still, it's not an hour long. You can go more than once.
Yeah, well, and it's more than an hour long once you get to the harder difficulties, but still.
That was-
I'm just trying to minimize your hardship.
And
Ryan.
you couldn't skip that intro. You had to watch it every time.
That was a long intro.
It was a long intro. Stupid Zoombinis.
What was your bone to pick with her statement earlier?
So I don't know if you've noticed lately, but if you go to the Xbox game store and try and look at games, 75% of them no longer have trailers. They just have, hey, watch somebody else streaming it, or here's a game clip. I want to see the trailer. I still want to see that. It still has value to me.
Ashley, did you ever watch those trailers?
Trailers? Yeah, well, normally they just autoplay on the Steam store page.
I'm going to talk about like in the Xbox market.
Yeah, in Xbox.
Oh, no.
I
No?
never did either. You're the
I
only
always
person
watched-
I've ever heard talk about this.
What
No.
if you want to go look and see what the game is?
I think
I always
most-
watch them online, and then I'd go look it up on Xbox.
I feel like most people who are seeking out a game in the marketplace already know if they're going to buy it or not.
Well, here's where it comes up the most right now. And maybe this is the type of game that lends itself to this. But whenever they have the games on gold, it'll pop up and it's like, hey, here's a free game. Do you want this?
Yes,
I
you
don't
want
know.
it.
The
I
answer
don't
is
know if
yes.
I want it. Maybe I don't want
The
it.
answer is never no. The answer
Sometimes
is
the answer is no.
the answer is yes, and now I'll go see if I'll ever
Yeah.
play it.
You can just
sometimes
attach it
the
to your
answer is
account
completely,
and you can
no.
download it whenever. Yeah, the
why
answer is
not?
always yes.
Sometimes the answer is no.
Someone hands you a
When
free
is the answer
cheeseburger
no?
and you slap it out of their hands. How dare you, sir? What's on that
if
burger?
It's fucking
is there
rancid?
ketchup?
Yes. I don't want if it looks like it's a steaming pile of garbage wrapped in a cheeseburger wrapper. Then no, I'll slap it out of their hands.
What's the rancid piece of garbage that someone tried to give you for free, Ryan?
Well, I can't remember any offhands because they don't have trailers, so I just don't buy them for freeze.
You don't buy them for $0.
There's some things that even $0 is too much. If I have to scroll past it for the rest of my life in my games list, which thankfully I will say Xbox has finally restored the ability to hide shit so that all of those betas that were available for install but really weren't there anymore are now gone from my list.
I
But
wish that, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I wish that if you downloaded software for a beta, that once the beta was over, it would auto delete from your.
It
why would
should,
that be
right?
as
Otherwise, it's just
popular?
sitting
Yeah,
around,
it's-
Some people might
taking up space.
I'm sure there's people who want to like try to
save it
disassemble
somehow.
the files, or go through it, or I don't know. I'm sure someone will argue with that sentiment. But I'm still every time I turn my Xbox on, I'm like, oh yeah, the Division beta is still installed on there. I need to delete that at some time.
That's a good segue, though. Did you see that news report about one of the major hacking groups that is responsible for releasing video game cracks is like taking a break?
For a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the
Is this the
Kraken-
same group that complained
the
about
Kraken
Just
Group's
Cause 3?
3DM.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same ones that said that they were about to give up on Just Cause 3. As far as I know, they still haven't cracked it, but I'm not, super up on all my crackers. Yeah, they said that they are going to stop cracking single-player games for a year to measure its impact on sales. I have a few issues with that because they mainly crack PC titles, and PC is now largely a digital industry. So you can't just go and get numbers from NPD or whatever, because those
Yeah.
are all like those. Most trackers are tracking physical sales
Retail,
because
yeah.
unless the publisher discloses the number of digital sales they make,
Which they
nobody
don't.
knows. And you'll notice that none of them are doing it. They're talking about revenue, they're talking about
Nope.
active players online, but they're just not talking about digital sales. Maybe they're trying not to piss off all their retail partners and scare them too much, or maybe they just like having it all secret. There's really no reason for them to share.
They'll probably
the
use that
numbers.
system like that guy did who tracked everything via Steam and the Steam API to see how many.
Steam Spy?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it's called. Yeah.
I think it's kind of cute that you think that they even care about that number, right? I mean,
About sales?
yeah, no, this is just like shit, we can't crack this stuff anymore. We need an excuse. We'll white knight it.
well,
yeah,
I
we're
mean-
going to see if we improve
I think
sales
the
by
ang-
just not
the
doing it
angle
anymore.
would be that of course when the data comes out in the end it'll show that they'll find a way to make it show that it had no effect, right?
Right.
Well,
And then-
easily though, for a lot of reasons.
And then they'll say, then why are people adding all of this security protection? You developers, why are you paying so much for the high-end encryption? You don't have to pay for that because what we do in the end doesn't have any effect on your sales.
You
Right.
think they're trying to just slow play it and get people to back off the DRM because they've hit, I guess it's called de novo. De novo, is that how you
Yeah.
pronounce it? Okay. Which is apparently made up of a bunch of former crackers. And it is not actually a traditional DRM. It maintains the integrity of the game files, which apparently allows traditional DRM methods to be more effective.
Yeah, so most of the games that use Denuvo, and it's not very many because apparently it's a very expensive
Dragon Age,
solution.
Inquisition,
Yeah,
FIFA,
Just Cause.
Just
Yeah,
Cause 3.
there's a couple of games that use it, but it uses a combination of 64-bit encryption and keys that are unique to your PC's hardware, and it more or less protects the DRM. So all the games that are running Denuvo also have their normal DRM. It's like a second version,
Right.
yet another layer. But the other reason that 3DM this isn't going to have any impact in the end is they're not the only group out there. It's not like they call it quits and suddenly the games aren't being pirated anymore. Someone else will crack them. Piracy will continue as it always has.
But I think they're just talking about their specific group, to
Right.
show that what they're doing has no effect.
Sure.
Well, they are
maybe.
one of the larger groups. I mean, they're responsible for a lot of the cracks. And, I mean, that's the way that world goes, is a lot of times if one group will crack it, all the other groups have figured out how to crack it.
Just repackage it.
Repackage. But, I mean, realistically, regardless of what the sales numbers show, I think they just got tired of beating their head against that wall.
Maybe.
And it was, I'm confident someone will figure out a way to break it eventually.
That's what
And then
always
someone
happens,
will
yeah.
figure out a way to break the way they broke it.
I mean, it's an arms race.
Yeah.
That's the way the whole thing works. I will say, when I was just getting into games,
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely copied games off other people at LAN parties.
Yep.
I didn't even think twice about it.
Nope.
But at this point, trying to do something like that is way less convenient to me than just buying the game on Steam or whatever.
And well, it's dangerous.
Digital, well, yeah, that too. Look, I was young. I was fucking idiot. I didn't know shit about any of that. I had absolutely.
That was before we had computer condoms.
I had nothing.
Everything
but-
was raw dog.
Just me and the computer at the LAN raw dogging it. But like now it's more convenient to just go the legal route. I don't have to worry about the malware. It's, I mean, it on PC at least, they tend to be cheap enough. It's affordable. Like that was never really the big holdup. It was just that it was hard to go to the store all the time, or the store was closed. It's 3 a.m. on Sunday morning in the middle of a LAN party, and you don't have the game that everyone wants to play. So it was absolutely a thing of convenience. Whereas now, at any point in time, I can download the game.
Yeah.
Well, and then part of that's growing up. I mean, once you can afford to do it, then that's great. I mean, when I was a kid, I absolutely could not afford to buy games whenever I wanted. I had I had a Super Nintendo and had like 3 games for it, I think.
I had my first Nintendo, 1 cartridge,
Yeah.
and that was all we ever had. I lucked out. It was 1 cartridge with 3 games on it because I had Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and World Track Meet. Had the Power Pad.
Oh, you had the Power Pad. Okay. I wonder where the third one came in.
She did the shit out of that Power Pad too.
Oh yeah, you did this right.
Yeah,
I had a Power Pad.
Straight up. But yeah, we never, like, my parents didn't think that it was necessary to buy more than the one. It's like you have your
play the
Nintendo
game.
and you have your game. Same thing with Nintendo 64. We had Nintendo 64 and we had Super Mario 64. Anything else was borrowed from cousins.
I mean, and that's the reasons essentially that market can exist. Unfortunately, what happens right now is I don't think you've got a group of people that profit from making protection and a group of people that profit only in essentially goodwill. I don't know that there's
Sort of.
any monetary return on cracking these games.
I do wonder about that sort of thing. If if those are the groups where then those copies are burned and sold in stores,
Probably,
or
yeah.
in stalls in markets or whatever, where they're like, here's a $2 for the game.
But I'm sure that's not them. I'm sure it's just other people who download the cracked versions online.
True, but like I wonder if there's got to be something more than just I cracked the game, right?
They probably have,
name
they,
on
they got to
things.
have like a donate link or something, right? Like send us a Bitcoin or whatever.
Why would I donate to someone if I'm stealing fucking games?
Because
Why would I
still
give
cheaper.
someone money
Pro-
and not the developers?
Probably cheaper. I'm not. I'm just saying.
Gus, why would
I wouldn't do it. So we're almost out of time. But I really was hoping that someone would have played Unravel or Firewatch.
I've seen Jeremy play a little bit of it.
I've downloaded Firewatch. I've got after this, I'm leaving for LA for the Amazing Race premiere, which I'll totally self-promote in just a second. But I'm planning on playing it on the plane. Someone told me it's like a 3-hour-ish game, which means it's perfect for the plane flight. Because now that American Airlines has plugs in
Yeah.
most of the seats, I can just plug in my laptop and go for it.
So I saw Firewatch at PSX, and it had one of the longest lines for a game that wasn't like it was in a smaller booth, right? It's like a smaller game. It wasn't like one of the big activations, but it had one of the longest lines I saw for one of those small booths. Like it went out and like wrapped around people coming up wanting to play that game. And they have a cool feature. We just showed an image from it where you can send your screenshots in, and they'll print them out, and then send,
Actual physical screenshots.
yeah, they'll print out and like on photo paper and then send it to you, which I thought was a
It's
it was
cool.
an interesting.
I mean, you know,
mechanic.
it's a gimmick, but I like it. It's kind of cute. I will say that I forgot. I saw the initial trailer for Firewatch, thought, oh, that looks interesting, and then somehow disconnected that name from that trailer in my mind. And all these people have been going fucking crazy on Twitter, going, oh my god, Firewatch, the end, this thing, and I'm like, wasn't that game from Red 5, and didn't all those people get laid off? I thought that was a multiplayer game that didn't have an ending. I just got fucking confused with Firefall, and I've been super confused
Oh,
since everyone started going nuts over it.
okay, yeah.
now
I can see that.
now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. They're like, oh no, someone told me, oh no, it's that Firewatching game, and I go, oh,
Right.
And apparently it's got some fucking crazy shit that happens. I don't know what it is yet. Tyler came up and he was trying to have a conversation about it, and we were like, Tyler, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Mega's been going
We don't, like, we're not the like I'm not the
all
person
day
you can
about
have
that
a
game.
conversation about this with yet. Like Monday, let's talk. But right now, he just comes up and he goes, because he needs to talk to somebody, but he can't.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to do your plug? Before
Oh
we go
yeah.
out?
So yeah, I'm heading to LA for the premiere of The Amazing Race. Our season, the season that Bernier and I are on, starts on Friday. We've got a premiere tomorrow, so we're gonna get to see it. They keep releasing little tiny bits of it. Like they released like the opening credits in the first couple minutes, and everything I see, I'm like, it just makes me giddy. I replay it like 20 times because I love the show, and I've been watching it, you know, and for like 10 seasons. And so actually seeing us in the credits, really fucking surreal, man.
Cool. I can't wait. I can't wait to
excited.
watch it.
I heard that you and Jeff were thinking of going in for that at one point.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that forever, but now we're like,
Would you do it?
yeah, I would absolutely do it. Would absolutely. I guarantee you, I would be eliminated immediately because I would refuse to train or get ready for it, and we'd get like, I'd run the first 3 steps, and be like, yeah, go ahead without me. I gotta catch my breath.
Uber. Can we
Yeah.
get an Uber?
Yeah.
I rode a bike from stage 2 over here yesterday, and I was out of breath all day.
I saw you riding
that
a bike yesterday
10 minutes
from,
ago.
Yeah, now we're
an
training
hour
now.
ago.
from stage 3 over to the HEB.
I went to Starbucks.
Oh, I'm sorry, to the Starbucks.
yeah.
Do we have multiple of those bikes?
No, just one.
Oh, that's a shame because maybe we can go doubles at some point. Have
There's
a coffee,
Razor scooters
have
also.
a coffee meeting and just like
No, you remember what happened last time
scoot
someone
over.
went double? Oh, you weren't here yet, I don't think.
That was when Miles fucked up the bike, right?
Yeah, Miles and Carrie.
Yeah.
They went
Yeah.
doubles.
Let's not do that. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
And watch The Amazing Race. It's on CBS on Fridays.